Just for a moment, try to picture a world in which your silence has the power to speak more loudly than words, and where your composure has the ability to triumph. In this day and age, we are going to delve deeply into the art of silence, which is a concept that is so potent yet so rarely appreciated in our noisy and hectic world. Consider the most recent instance in which you experienced feelings of being besieged by rumors, insulted without justification, or criticized unfairly. Didn't it give you a headache? Just for a moment, try to picture yourself handling those situations with such calm composure that you emerge not only unscathed but also more powerful, more dignified, and filled with peace. This is not simply about remaining silent, rather. It is about utilizing the power of silence as a method of strategic response, a tool for personal development, and a way to achieve inner peace among oneself. Stoicism teaches us that sometimes the most powerful statement we can make is to simply not react, to let our silence do the talking. Stoicism gives us the ability to learn this lesson. It's about having such a strong foundation in your beliefs and self-worth that even the most turbulent times in your life can't shake you. Stay with me if you are sick of the never-ending cycle of reacting, retaliating, and regretting something that has happened to you. Today, we will discuss how to transform your silence into a source of strength, how to maintain composure in the face of the upheavals that life brings, and how there are times when saying nothing at all can convey a great deal of information. It is important to remember to hit the subscribe button and to remain with us throughout the entirety of the video before we embark on this journey of silent strength. The more you practice, the closer you will get to mastering the art of Stoic silence and bringing about a transformation in your life. Imagine for a moment that someone is spreading a rumor about you, and those rumors are spreading like wildfire from person to person. While you are standing there right in the eye of the storm, your name is being whispered in hallways and typed in chats, and you are experiencing the urge to jump in and correct every misheard word and every exaggerated story. Yet, hold on. Stoicism instills in us the ability to take a step back. How come? Mainly due to the fact that when we participate in gossip, we give it more vitality and more life. Thinking about the power of silence is a better alternative. When you choose not to contribute to the cacophony, you are depriving the gossip of the very thing that gives it its existence attention. I am not implying that this is a simple task. It is difficult to listen to lies and not strike back against them. However, take into consideration the following: the fleeting satisfaction of putting an end to a rumor is nowhere near as valuable as the peace of mind and inner tranquility that you possess. Rather than requiring us to be passive, Stoicism encourages us to be strategic. In the absence of sound, there is power. There is power in the absence of reaction. It is important to keep in mind that the people who truly know you and who are important to you will not be swayed by idle talk. Who are the individuals who believe the rumors? Well, you shouldn't be concerned about them. Your actions, your character, and your integrity should be your primary focus. Instead of the rumors that naysayers spread, these are the things that truly define you. Take a moment to catch your breath the next time you find yourself tempted to confront gossip head-on. Take a deep breath, put on your stoic armor, and remind yourself of it. Take advantage of the power that silence bestows upon you by embracing it. By remaining silent, you are not merely avoiding that which is negative, rather, you are rising above it. You are making a decision that will ultimately lead to peace, as well as dignity and respect for yourself. This is something that each and every one of us has experienced at some point or another, those piercing words that seem to cut a little too deeply, that sting that lingers for a little bit too long. Insults have the ability to shake even the most resilient of us, regardless of whether they are delivered in person, online, or even subtly disguised as a joke. In most cases, when someone insults you, they are revealing more about their own character than they are about yours. Their words are a reflection of their own struggles, insecurities, or even just a momentary lapse in judgment. They are describing their own experiences. Stoicism teaches us to see this clearly, to disassociate ourselves from the poison of their words, and to locate a place of such profound inner strength that those words simply lose their power. Stoicism is essential to our development as individuals. If so, how? First and foremost, by acknowledging that the only opinion that can truly define you is your own perception of yourself. You have the power to control your own destiny and are the captain of your own soul. You have a choice to make when insults are directed toward you. Either you can engage in the conflict, take revenge, and allow those words to seep into your very being, or you can choose to rise above the situation, secure in the knowledge of who you are and the principles that you uphold. This is not about denying or repressing your emotions, rather, it is about recognizing them, gaining an understanding of the reasons why the insult bothers you, and then making the decision to not give it the ability to disrupt your peace of mind. It's not about reacting, but rather about responding. It's possible that the response is silence, a straightforward and decisive silence that conveys the message, "Your words do not define me." It is important to keep in mind that Stoicism does not mean that you do not seek support or defend yourself against abuse, that you have control over what you can control, such as your response, your emotions, and your dignity. Although you have no control over what other people say, you do have the ability to decide whether you will accept or reject what they say on the inside. You are not only protecting yourself by navigating the storm of insults with stoic wisdom, but you are also elevating yourself in addition to protecting yourself. You are living a life that is not influenced by the whims of other people's opinions, but rather is rooted in a profound and unwavering sense of self-respect and inner tranquility. The problem is not that you are feeling angry. Feelings of wrongdoing or injustice elicit this natural reaction from people. The real challenge, and the point at which Stoicism comes into play, is to successfully manage how we react to that anger. Imagining anger as a raging fire is effective. Unchecked, it has the potential to consume everything that is in its way. On the other hand, if we approach it with the level-headed and collected mindset of a Stoic, we will be able to contain the fire and use it to illuminate rather than destruction. So, how exactly do we go about doing this? It is preceded by a pause there. Although it might appear to be unimportant, this is actually quite powerful. During that brief pause, you are able to create space between the trigger and the response you intend to give. Instead of allowing yourself to be carried away by the angry wave, you give yourself the opportunity to choose how you will react to the situation. Now, while you are in that space, ask yourself, why am I angry? Stoicism teaches us to look deeper than the surface. Our anger is frequently a reaction to a feeling of being hurt, threatened, or treated unfairly. By gaining an understanding of its origin, however, we will be able to address the underlying problem in a more effective manner than if we simply lash out. It is at this point that things become even more intriguing. Stoicism does not merely require us to investigate our anger, rather, it encourages us to question the validity of that anger. Is the way we perceive things correct? Have we made the right interpretation of the situation there? We might discover that our anger is the result of a misunderstanding or a skewed perspective if we push ourselves to question our preconceived notions. On the other hand, what if the anger is warranted? There is no suggestion in Stoicism that we should repress it. Rather than that, it presents the idea of anger that can be constructive. Indeed, there is such a thing at all. Anger that is managed, channeled, and utilized for the purpose of bringing about positive change. Put it in your mind as a tool rather than a weapon. It is possible for it to inspire us to take action against injustices, to advocate for ourselves, or to make significant changes in our lives. But even anger that is warranted should not be allowed to control us. Seneca, a Stoic philosopher, compared emotions of anger to a momentary state of insanity. Consequently, although we are able to recognize our anger and put it to productive use, we must not allow it to cloud our judgment or dictate the actions that we take. When we put these Stoic principles into practice, we do not become emotionless, rather, we train ourselves to become masters of our feelings. We acquire the ability to use reason, wisdom, and integrity when responding to anger. In addition, by doing so, we not only prevent ourselves and others from being harmed, but we also cultivate inner peace and the ability to bounce back from adversity. If you are confronted with criticism that is not warranted, Stoicism will encourage you to pause and take a few deep breaths. This is not about repressing your feelings, rather, it is about allowing yourself a brief moment to calmly process your feelings and refrain from reacting rashly whenever possible. But this is due to the fact that, let's face it, our natural response may be to retaliate or to defend ourselves with vehementness. Stoicism, on the other hand, teaches us that there is a great deal of power in selecting our response after giving it some thought. Imagine for a moment that someone has just given you an unjust criticism. Your first response might be to dispute it in an effort to clear the air and make things more accurate. However, here is a Stoic twist. Ask yourself, does this criticism, true or not, define who I am? Keep in mind that your value and self-worth are not dependent on the opinions or judgments of other people. The philosophy of Stoicism teaches us that our fundamental identity and integrity are unaffected by the opinions of others, regardless of how we perceive them. The next step is to think about the origin of the criticism. In the practice of Stoicism, we are prompted to contemplate the intentions and perspectives of the critic. Most of the time, unjust criticism is more about the perceptions, insecurities, or internal struggles of the person who is criticizing you than it is about you. When you have this understanding, you will be able to recognize criticism for what it actually is, a reflection of the critic, not of oneself. Stoicism, on the other hand, does not imply passivity in this context. If the criticism contains even a sliver of truth, even if it is delivered in an unfair manner, you should view it as an opportunity for personal development. Analyze it in an impartial manner. Are there things that you can learn that are of value to you, or things that you can improve upon? The philosophy of Stoicism encourages us to use every experience, even the ones that are unpleasant, as a source of material for our own personal growth. Let's move on to the next topic, which is trying to keep your calm. The philosophy of Stoicism teaches that maintaining mental tranquility is of the utmost importance and that it should not be easily disrupted by external factors, including criticism. By separating your emotional well-being from the opinions of other people, you can protect your inner peace from the shifting tides of praise and blame that are constantly flooding in. The experience of loss is an unavoidable component of the human condition, whether it be the loss of a loved one, a relationship, a job, or even a component of our identity. It is unfiltered, it is genuine, and it tends to be extremely painful. The Stoic philosophy, on the other hand, shines a light of optimism and resiliency through the midst of our sorrow and grief. Stoicism does not require us to repress our grief or act as if it does not hurt. Rather, it encourages us to acknowledge the pain that comes with loss. Instead, it provides us with a structure that allows us to process our loss in a manner that is more constructive and healthy. This serves as a reminder that although we are unable to control what we lose, we do have the ability to control how we react to that loss. Imagine for a moment that you have recently suffered a significant loss. It is as if the world is falling apart right in front of your very eyes. At this point, Stoicism encourages you to take a moment to pause and breathe. Deeply inhale and allow yourself to feel your emotions and to mourn. Give yourself permission to do so. While you are doing this, keep in mind that your feelings are not commands but rather natural responses. You can experience negative emotions such as sadness, anger, or confusion without allowing these emotions to control your actions or determine your future. To illustrate, here is a profoundly Stoic way of looking at loss as an opportunity for personal development. There are the seeds of new beginnings, new strengths, and new wisdom that are brought with every loss, regardless of how devastating the loss may be. You should ask yourself, what can I learn from this loss? How can it improve my development? This is not about providing instant solutions or finding a silver lining. Rather, it is about allowing yourself to be open to the possibility that even in the most difficult of circumstances, there is the possibility of finding a way out. The philosophy of Stoicism also teaches us about impermanence, which serves to remind us that loss is an inevitable part of the cycle of life. This means that everything and everyone that we hold dear is, in a sense, on loan to us. Through the process of internalizing this idea, we can acquire the ability to learn to appreciate our blessings more deeply while we are in possession of them, and to let go of them with grace when the time came. Stoic philosophy encourages us to draw strength from our community when we are experiencing a loss. Sharing our suffering, allowing others to offer their support, and then offering our own support to those who are through the grieving process can be extremely healing. It is important to keep in mind that being stoic does not mean going through life by oneself, rather. It means having the wisdom and bravery to connect with other people, even in the most vulnerable of times. As we embrace Stoicism, we do not minimize our loss or deny the pain that we are experiencing. Instead, we acquire the skills necessary to navigate our grief with dignity, eventually regaining our equilibrium and finding our way back to peace. We are aware of the pain, but we also acknowledge that we have the ability to recover, to discover meaning, and to proceed with our journey with renewed strength and wisdom. The initial impulse that we may have when we are confronted with injustice is to react with either outrage or despair. These are responses that are typical of humans. Stoicism, on the other hand, encourages us to take a step back and evaluate the situation with clarity and composure. We choose a response that is in accordance with our values and principles, rather than one that is dictated by our impulses. This does not mean that we become indifferent or passive with regard to the situation. Think about being a witness to or experiencing something that is unfair. Beginning with observation and comprehension is the first step in the Stoic response. Ask yourself, what is it that I can change that is within my power? The philosophy of Stoicism instructs us to concentrate our efforts on our actions and attitudes, which are the areas in which we have the most control. It is possible that we will not be able to correct every injustice, however. We have the ability to choose not to allow this to dampen our spirit or our dedication to doing what is right. Now, let's have a more in-depth discussion about the Stoic approach to fighting against injustice. Intentional and purposeful behavior is the key at this point. Our actions ought to be thoughtful, deliberate, and founded on a more profound comprehension of justice, regardless of whether they are aimed at bringing attention to the issue, providing assistance to those who are affected, or working toward improving the system. Stoicism is also a philosophy that encourages us to develop our own inner fortitude. The experience of confronting injustice can be exhausting, disheartening, and even soul-crushing. It is important to keep in mind that your inner citadel, which is your core of Stoic strength, has not been altered. Even if you are a witness to or someone who has experienced injustice, you can still keep your inner peace and integrity intact. It is not about turning a blind eye, rather. It is about ensuring that the chaos in the outside world does not mess up the harmony within you. Stoicism also serves to remind us of the power that comes from community and the humanity that we all share. When injustice occurs, it frequently causes us to feel isolated and alone in our struggle. But keep in mind that we are a small part of a much larger human tapestry. It can be extremely empowering to connect with other people, to stand in solidarity with them, and to draw on the collective strength and wisdom of the group being connected to. By adopting a Stoic attitude toward injustice, we are able to discover a path forward that is more balanced. We don't act out of a place of irrational rage or hopelessness, rather. We do so from a place of measured and principled strength. Even though we are aware of our feelings, we do not allow them to take control of us. To contribute to justice and fairness, we concentrate on what we can do, no matter how insignificant it may be. When we are confronted with ignorance, our initial response may be to argue, correct, or even degrade the viewpoint of the other person. A desire to make things right is a natural human emotion. Stoicism, on the other hand, encourages us to temporarily pause and take a different approach to the situation. Instead of viewing ignorance as a challenge that needs to be overcome, you should look at it as an opportunity to develop patience, empathy, and understanding towards others. Consider the following scenario: you are participating in a conversation, and someone presents a viewpoint that is not only distinct but also blatantly uninformed. First and foremost, listen to what is being said. Pay close attention. Please make an effort to comprehend the perspective of this individual. To what extent are their perspectives influenced by their experiences or fears? This does not mean that you are condoning their lack of knowledge. Rather, it means that you are allowing yourself the opportunity to respond in a thoughtful manner rather than in a reactive manner. In the following step, you should inquire as to whether this is an opportunity for learning or for teaching. There are times when the most stoic response is to offer information in a gentle and respectful manner, without any expectations or attachments to the outcome. Sometimes it might be more productive to ask questions, to learn why they hold these views, or even to reflect on what this encounter teaches you about patience and humility. These are all things that this encounter can teach you. What can you do, however, if the ignorance you are confronted with is harmful or dangerous? When confronted with injustice or false information, Stoicism does not require us to remain passive by any means. When faced with these circumstances, you still have the ability to take a stance, express your concerns, or provide accurate information. The most important thing is to maintain your composure and not let anger or frustration take control of the situation. The philosophy of Stoicism also reminds us to pick our battles carefully. It is not necessary to correct every piece of ignorant statement. There are times when the most graceful and effective response is to simply walk away, thereby conserving your energy for discussions or actions that will yield more constructive results. It is important to keep in mind that navigating the seas of ignorance is not only about dealing with other people, it is also about confronting our own blind spots. Stoicism instills in us the ability to be learners for life, to be constantly open to expanding our understanding and to questioning our current assumptions. When someone boasts, they are nearly always looking for approval or admiration from the people in their immediate environment. The desire to be regarded as successful by other people or feelings of insecurity can be the root cause of this need for approval from outside sources. It is through the practice of Stoicism that we learn to empathize with this need without becoming engulfed by it. Keep in mind that the source of genuine worth and contentment lies within, and not in the accolades or recognition that come from the outside. Imagine for a moment that you are in a circumstance in which boasts are flying at you at a rapid pace. Stoicism is not about being condescending or confronting someone. Rather, it is about listening quietly and reflecting on oneself. When you choose to remain silent, you are not giving in to the competitive urge to outdo the boaster or to validate their need for attention. You are, on the other hand, remaining true to your values, concentrating on your own path, and maintaining your sense of self-worth. This silence is not at all passive. Rather, it is a choice that is both active and powerful. It reveals a great deal about your self-assurance and confidence about yourself. This demonstrates that you do not have to contribute to the chorus of self-congratulation in order to feel confident in your accomplishments or your value. Furthermore, this silence gives you the opportunity to observe, to glean information about other people, and possibly to comprehend the reasons behind their desire to boast. The question is, however, what happens if the boasting becomes excessive to the point where it becomes arrogance or even lies? Even in this situation, Stoicism gives us the advice to carefully consider our response. In the event that a response is required, it ought to be measured, kind, and founded on the truth. It should not be motivated by a desire to downplay or humiliate the other person. The act of embracing silence in the face of boasting provides an opportunity for introspection among the individual. It presents an opportunity for us to investigate our responses and inquire about the reasons why the boasting has an effect on us. Are we experiencing feelings of insecurity, competition, or being outdone? Rather than engaging in a battle of egos, we can more effectively address our own needs and insecurities if we have a better understanding of our emotions. On the other hand, we cultivate inner peace, humility, and a deep-seated confidence that is not dependent on the validation of others when we practice Stoic silence in the midst of boasts. We acquire the ability to recognize our own value without the need to publicly proclaim it, and we grant others the opportunity to express themselves, even if the manner in which they do so does not resonate with us. Imagine that you have been told a rumor about yourself that is not only untrue, but also potentially harmful. Instead of rushing into the fray and fighting rumor with counter-rumor, the Stoic response is to remain calm and cool. Instead, you take a moment to pause, take a deep breath, and remind yourself that the words of others do not determine your value. Through the decision to remain silent, you are not giving up, rather, you are elevating yourself above the conflict, conserving your energy, and preserving your tranquility. This silence is not a result of inaction or passivity, rather, it is a choice that is both conscious and powerful. There are times when you should speak, and there are other times when you should let your actions and character speak for themselves. When they are not given the oxygen of attention, rumors frequently lose their power to communicate effectively. It is possible that the truth will eventually come to light without your intervention if you remain silent and calm until it does. However, what repercussions do these rumors have exactly? Is it possible that silence could be interpreted as admission? The Stoic philosophy provides profound wisdom in this regard. What we learn from this is that those who are familiar with us and who have a deep understanding of our personality will not be swayed by rumors. In addition, for those individuals who are quick to believe the worst, we were never in a position to control their opinions in the first place. Furthermore, this period of Stoic silence affords us the chance to engage in some self-reflection. Because of this, we are able to turn our attention inward and strengthen our inner citadel against the arrows and slings of malicious information. During this time of introspection, we have the opportunity to discover clarity, strength, and even a more profound understanding of who we are and what we believe in. Resilience is something that can be developed through the practice of the Stoic art of silence in the midst of rumors. As we progress through life, we acquire the ability to gracefully navigate the turbulent waters of public opinion, to firmly establish ourselves in our own truth, and to move through the world with a quiet confidence that no rumor can shake. Remember that silence is more than just the absence of noise, it is a source of strength and a demonstration of your inner fortitude. This is something to keep in mind as we come to the end of our journey today. When you consciously choose to remain silent rather than speak, you are embracing the profound wisdom of Stoicism, which allows you to transform difficulties into opportunities for personal development and tranquility. Now, I would like to extend an invitation to you to continue this journey of personal development and exploration by watching one of the videos that have been suggested to you on your screen. Develop a deeper understanding of the Stoic philosophy, and together we can work toward creating a life that is characterized by peace, purpose, and unwavering resilience. I am grateful that you have chosen to accompany me on this journey of awareness and self-reflection. The community of people who are on the Stoic journey is enriched by your presence, and together we are learning how to navigate the storms of life with grace and resilience.